16. And heads up, guys, a noteworthy size earthquake has struck in California, right in the area where we warned. Sorry about that noise, guys. Got some cats freaking out behind me. But a big swarm broke out last night in California at the Nevada border at Mammoth Mountain. The swarm was noteworthy, significant. Then that was followed by a swarm right along the coast, going up to 4.0. Same time that happened, a 5.1 broke out just northwest of San Francisco, south of Eureka. This fully fits with what we were looking for to happen. Last night, I issued a warning telling people, look, whenever there's swarms like this, it usually means building pressure up to the northwest that's going to release with a larger event. In this case, 5.0, 5.1, 3s, 2s, all striking on top of each other, and the other locations being struck as well. Again, this is the earthquakes over the last day. You can clearly see 3 sets of swarms breaking out across California. So last night's swarm was indeed a warning sign that there's coming movement to the west-northwest, right along the coast. And that's literally right there along the coast northwest of San Francisco. So, in other words, last night, guys, we were talking about this at length and how there was building pressure. The warning signs were there. Well, now I dare say it's been multiple 4s. Look at this. 3.9 down to the south. Okay? Then we have another 3.9 up here to the northeast, right at Mammoth Mountain. Then we also have the 5.0 northwest of San Francisco. So 2 4s and a 5. I would say that's meaning something that's significant. We might not be even out of the woods yet. There may be other movement coming. Now that you see this, we really need to get the warning out to the people in Oklahoma. Let them know immediately that there's been major movement on the West Coast, tallying up to multiple 3.9 and 4.0 earthquakes, with a 5 topping out as the largest. So if you take a 5.1 plus multiple 3.9s and the 2s and the 1s, we're already going up to about a 5.5 total breaking out across California. 5.5 total cumulative magnitude since this morning, since this whole thing started. So I'm not too shocked to see a 5.1. Of course, I crashed out this morning at 7:30, 8 o'clock a.m. Again this morning. And in the time that I've been asleep, here we are. It got hit again, just as expected. I don't think anybody should be shocked by that, okay? And we're not done yet. It's going to push over into the Midwest. It's going to re-excite things down the coast in California. The warning signs were there yesterday. So I think we're all pretty much, if you were here last night, you knew to watch today pretty much right in this location. Northwest California, right along the coast, watching for, what did I tell you guys to watch for? Magnitude-wise, we're only a few points off on that. Only a few points off. So, 5.1, right? What did I say about 5 striking around the rest of the plate? Pretty obvious, isn't it? So the 5s carried on. The reason the 5 struck there were many warning signs that have shown up in the days and hours before this hit. Okay? Oh, and the 5.1. Somebody in chat is saying 5.1 has been lowballed. Well, let's go take a quick look. Since we got you on here, might as well take a quick look, see what the actual magnitudes are showing here. Okay, so let's go to our latest data contributions. Here we go, Northern California. And here's our data contributions. Okay, let me get my screen off here really quick. If I can. Well, that's not going to work. There we go. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to see a little bit better here without my camera taking up the entire screen right over the magnitudes. So take a look. They have lowballed it. They sure have. Look, 6s detected, mid-range 5s, some 4s throwing it low, some 4s throwing it low, but enough detecting mid-range 5, 5.5, going up to 6.5, 6.6, 6.4. I mean, there's enough sixes on here to really raise the eyebrows. We could also say that it was more like most likely a mid-range 5. Mid-range 5, not low 5. Well, that definitely fits with what we warned for. And I mean, really, we warned for a mid-range 5. So mid-range 5 hit. Now take a look at where the 3.9s hit, guys. 3.9s striking along the coast and over at Mammoth Mountain. Mammoth Mountain is a volcano. It's not going to erupt. And since I told you that last night, the swarm has died out somewhat at Mammoth Mountain. So it was only a temporary swarm, letting us know pressure's coming. It's building, building, building. Something was displacing all of California, and that was a mid-range 5 to 6.0 earthquake striking north of San Francisco. Amazing, amazing times to be alive right now, guys, especially in geophysics world, because it took years for me to figure out which way the pressure transfers, how to compute the magnitudes, where the pressure usually releases, when it's building, all those things, all those rules took, like I said, 7 years to develop. And I'm still learning. We're still figuring a few things out, but we've got the major gist of it right now. And now you know, if you live in California, you can have at least a day's warning before a large earthquake strikes. That should take all the fear out of the big one. You'll have at least a day's warning, a time to prepare. And you'll know it's coming when the big one is coming, because your dormant volcanoes will be swarming with larger earthquakes. You'll be seeing movement at the pumping operations, and it'll be so noteworthy in size that you wouldn't be able to ignore it. So I think we've now proved that a swarm of 2s, 3s, topping out near a 4 can lead to a 6. Mid-range 5 to 6. Now they lowballed it, whatever. But you saw the station list yourself. Many 6s showing up. So somewhere right below that 6 level is where the earthquake is. So California's warning signs show up at least a day beforehand, letting us know what's coming the next day. And where. And where. So not only do we know the magnitudes that are coming, but we also know the general location within a few hundred miles. So that only that area needs to prepare. I mean, when I issued the warning yesterday for Northwest California, I said only Northwest California is going to have to be watching for this. Not Southern California, not Eastern California, Northwest California. Then that swarm broke out last night, topping out near 3.9. And somebody even came into the chat and said, swarms are not a big deal here. They happen all the time. It doesn't mean anything's coming to the Northwest. That's what they said to me last night. I can't wait to, I might even go find that commenter and go back to him and say, yeah, now what do you have to say, dude? Here we are the next morning, and a 5.5, whatever, mid-range 5, has hit Northwest California. Do you still want to deny it? They probably will. They'll be, that's what deniers do. Even in the face of total facts, they deny. It's not skepticism to be a denier. It's a denialism to be a denier. And so, here we are. The spots we were talking about last night, the most important one, coast of California, hit. And you guys, please, go watch my video from last night. It's safe. Hey, Oklahoma now hit. Oklahoma now hit, just as I'm talking to you. Let's go open up the coordinates on this. Nice little size earthquake here. 3.0 at 4 kilometers deep. Uh-oh. You know what's there. If you're a longtime viewer of mine, you already know what's there. If you're new here, you don't have a clue. So, let's go show you. Because this picture really does speak 1,000 words. Alright, so we're zooming in on an area. You're going to see here's a little river, okay? And right across the river, this imagery dates from 2015, so it's a year old. There may be some newer things going on here, but right across the river, and I mean directly across the river, we've got ourselves different frac wells. Here's one right here. We've got more down along the road to the south, and these are the nearest ones that I see. We always look within 6 miles for frac wells, and what they'll do is they will pump polluted water nasty water from industrial wastewater will get pushed down into the wells. They'll bring truckloads of it and dump it down in there, then compress it under pressure to fracture the shale. When the shale's fractured, gas escapes, and that nasty water is left behind down in the old oil well, which they then cap off and either recompress for more gas or store that wastewater down in the ground as a way for the big companies to get rid of their nasty down into old oil wells without having to pay to have it cleaned or stored or put away in some storage facility because it's so polluted. So they just pump it back down in these oil wells and forget about it. And that's no joke. That's what wastewater injection is. They could do it with regular salt water. They could do it with clean water. But they're doing it with wastewater so they can accept payments from these companies to pump their waste down into the ground. And I don't think the people in Oklahoma were expecting that to be the main purpose of their frack wells. You know, a trash dump. So anyways, take a look at it. Huge operation here. I've stopped marking the wells because of the other nearby earthquakes that struck and the new wells that are appearing all the time. There's so many that I just kind of gave up on trying to post them. So now when earthquakes strike, I make note of where the earthquake is. I look within a few miles, and we will see. And this one, again, is just right across the river. So 3.0 hit Oklahoma. Why? Because noteworthy activity yesterday going into today on the West Coast. And you may notice Oklahoma went quiet for the last day. So yesterday, Oklahoma, no earthquakes. Not one. Now today, being hit. Why? Because of noteworthy activity out to our west. This will go all the way over to the East Coast, guys. Don't kid yourselves. We're going to see this push all the way to the east and excite things back up. So Oklahoma, this isn't, 1 3.0. You're going to see a lot more than that. It may even be equal to the 5.0 that's striking on the coast to begin with. Now, it might give it, the power might go away in a swarm as opposed to a single larger earthquake. Only time will tell on that, but the swarm certainly is about to increase in Oklahoma, and the magnitudes in the swarm are going to increase. So, okay, so there's our quick morning update. Let's see, what does this say? Angel, that is how they frack. Yeah, that is how they frack. They have to do it that way. They inject the wastewater to fracture the shale. Then they just deposit that wastewater back down in the ground. It's terrible. Terrible. And when the earthquakes come, that then excites things at the well, and it causes cracks in the casement. And if you have cracks in the casement of the well, guess what's going to escape out into the shallower bedrock and even possibly into the groundwater? The toxic water. So, again, it's a real problem going on there. And the only reason it's hit, the only reason the fracking operations are getting hit is because pressure transfers across the plate, and these are drill points that humans shouldn't have done, thousands of drill points, thousands of feet down into the crust. So it's like putting a pressure release valve halfway across the plate. Okay, if anything else goes down, I'll be back in a little while, guys. Of course, I just rolled out of bed to find this going on. And yeah, I slept till 1 o'clock. But then again, I went to bed at 8 o'clock, so I'm doing good. Doing good. We'll be watching for anything else to develop. Have a plan. You need to have a plan, an earthquake plan, and be prepared. Just in case, you are not going to get a warning from the professionals. You're not even going to get a heads up that there's greater activity going around the planet. They're not even going to tell you that. You know how I know? Because I pay attention to this every day, and I've seen people say, everything's normal. Everything's normal. We're not seeing any increase. It's head in the sandism at this point. Now, the real reality of the situation here is that there's a huge increase. The largest earthquake of the year just happened, an 8.0. And the largest earthquake of the year for the United States happened 7 days ago, here on the West Coast. Largest earthquake for the U.S., 6.5. Now, another earthquake, noteworthy in size, not the largest, but take a look at where the 5.0 just struck. Okay, again, the 5.0 just struck southeast of our 6.5. Here's where our 6.5 is. Here's where our 5 is. So, movement pressing to the east-southeast from our 6.5 originally, but this is also a result of the next round of pressure coming in. So, look at the spots where it struck. This is not a coincidence either. Northwest California is struck over and over again because of our pressure coming from over in the West Pacific, which included an 8.0 earthquake this week. So is anybody shocked that there's new rounds of pressure hitting on the West Coast? You shouldn't be. If you were paying attention here last night, you saw it hit and you said, there it is this morning. That's what you probably said. That's got to be what you said. If you saw the warning last night, it's over on my channel, the warning. The warning for California is over on my YouTube channel right now. Let's go see how many views it has. Let's go see. I'm really curious because, I put a lot of time into this. I wonder if anybody even got the dang warning. And if they didn't, I'm going to be pissed. Yeah! 2,300 people have seen the damn update. That's it. Pardon my language. Pardon my language. I can't believe it. That pisses me off so bad. 2,000 people. Okay. Yeah.